Hello, and welcome to another episode of Creating Cultures That Outperform. We're doing a series on how to increase workforce productivity, and I'm here with my amazing co-host Terry Mays, certified culture engineer. If you don't know me, I'm Frank Warner. I'm the founder and CEO of People Productive, and today we're going to be chatting about achievement-driven culture. Achievement-driven culture is really important. We've gone through, all these measures of productivity. They're taking you to the point where you're really achieving a lot. That's an achievement-driven culture. It builds esteem, makes everybody much more passionate about their work they're doing. It's an element of passion in the workplace, and there's nothing more important than really workforce productivity at this moment in time. Tapping the best your people have to give, tapping the full potential of the workforce. Achievement-driven culture is one element being able to do that, but a very important one. So I'll turn it over to Terry to kick us off here.
Yes, this matters so much. People need to feel like they are needed. They really do want to feel like they're doing something that matters.
Yeah.
And then once you do something great, you want to get some sort of sense of accomplishment and you want somebody to recognize that. You want to get those thank yous and well done. You did a great job with that. All of that matters so much. People don't always need monetary recognition, but that's good too. I won't say that people don't want monetary recognition, but sometimes just the simple thank you note, or, especially in these times now where people don't handwrite notes anymore.
Yeah.
It means so much when you get kind of something that somebody put some thought into it. It wasn't just some random casual thing that they did, but they actually sat down, thought about what you did, wrote a note, and gave it to you. Or even, sending a personal email where it's something very specific, something that means a lot to you, just recognizing you for something great that you did. All of those things are just, again, we did series on how you can do things
Yeah.
that boost your morale that don't cost anything. This is one of those areas, letting people know that you appreciate them, that you are thankful for what they did, that what they did really made a difference. Um,
Yeah.
just
Very important.
spontaneous with it. It's so important. It's so important. Not just doing those recognition programs. There's nothing worse than just recognizing people. You're forcing it and you're saying, okay, we're going to recognize people and everybody has to say something. All the leaders have to say something. And they just start with these generic statements that
That's BS.
you don't feel it at all. This
No.
recognition that matters is when people can feel what you're saying, when they know that you genuinely appreciate what they did.
Oh, yeah. Stirs
Just
emotion in others.
yeah, not just saying something just to say something. That kind of recognition really has no meaning when you're just throwing up, accolades on somebody and saying, yeah, they did a great job tying their shoe. It's just
Yeah.
like, come on, like that has no meaning. It doesn't have any value to people, and it's not accomplishing what you think it's accomplishing. It's actually making people angry because they have to sit through that fake recognition.
Oh, yeah. I mean, achievement is you overcame a challenge of some kind. You get real happiness from overcoming a challenge. It was all the hard work that went into it. And that gives you that sense of satisfaction that you actually did something. And so you get this sense of achievement in you. And when the achievement is real, you've made an impact and people notice that you've made an impact. And the ability to make an impact is an important part of an achievement driven culture. When you give people things to do that really aren't very challenging, they're repetitive, there's no sense of achievement. Everybody needs to be needed. They all need to contribute and they all need to have an impact one way or another on the organization. Achievement driven culture, people have influence. They have influence because they know stuff. And that influence gives them a sense of achievement. And that's part of building an achievement driven culture, that people have influence in the culture. And people, that's part of being needed
Yeah.
and really matters.
Yeah. And, there's a good sense of respect that comes out of that.
Yeah.
When my leaders recognize that I did something great and they show that appreciation, they show and recognize that I did something great, you respect them for doing that. You respect them more, and you can appreciate your team members when they do it, when they recognize, because this recognition isn't just on the leadership, having these rewards and showing that people have achieved something great. You can recognize your peers. You can tell your peers thank you, and you can show appreciation to them in a public way. A lot of tools now are out there. Teams is one of them, where you can show praise to people, that, and as a peer, you can thank somebody for doing something outstanding for you. And it means so much
Oh yeah.
when you say thank you and you praise people publicly for something that they did that was great or amazing, or, you know, out of the box thinking, where they were creative, they solved a problem quickly, where they came to the rescue for somebody else. There are times when that happens, and it just means so much, and it creates such a camaraderie on the
Big
team
time.
when
And it
you
doesn't have to be huge, right? They did
right.
something. So you got to recognize it because they did something important. And in that moment, spontaneous recognition, calling them out, walking over, getting 5 or 6 people together on Zoom to say, "Hey, you don't know what just happened, but I've got to thank so and so for this. This is
Yeah,
what happened. This is what he did." And now it's authentic because it happened. You're in the moment. You can feel it. You're happy about the fact they did it. They know it's real because it just happened, and they're just glowing and beaming because they achieved something that maybe it wasn't to them that big a deal, but you noticed it and it had a bigger impact than they realized, and you brought it into the forefront so everybody could see it. That's what that
yeah,
means.
yeah. It's so important. Recognition is one of those areas that often gets overlooked,
Yeah.
where, we feel like people should just do their job. It's just their job. And, yeah, that's true to a certain extent. You want everybody to do their job. But man, it goes a long way when you appreciate what somebody did, when you show that you
Huge.
care and that it matters. It goes a long way with boosting your morale, with
Yeah.
just helping that person feel like like they matter, like something is important to you, that they've had an impact on the organization in a positive way. Knowing those types of things just really helps people feel like, it really helps you feel like you are connected. It helps you feel like you belong. It helps you feel like, oh, I matter. What I'm doing matters. That
Yeah.
is so important. It really is. And it helps people be more creative and more willing and more open to be creative. So, all of this innovation and this change that we're going through in the workplace, almost every organization is going through some sort of digital transformation,
Yeah.
some sort of innovation that's taking over. You're doing all kinds of things with chat gpt, and we're incorporating all these different digital tools, and machine learning and ai is just kind of infiltrating our organizations in different ways. Well, having these appropriate recognition programs really helps people get in the right frame of mind to be able to do some of the things that they need to do, to learn some of the new things they need to learn. Start recognizing people for being creative and innovative and out of the box thinkers. Start recognizing that in your organization. You'll see more of it. You'll see more of what you recognize. You'll see more of what you reward and what you praise.
Absolutely. Give them influence in some of these decisions that have to be made along the way. Give them a voice. And that's going to allow them to really, get a sense of achievement out of the work that they're doing.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
and that earns them the respect of colleagues and bosses so that they really feel even better about the place.
Yes.
And, if you don't have all of these different factors coming into play and it's just a momentary thing, it's difficult to have a lasting sense of achievement. An achievement driven culture, people are achieving things on a regular basis. And so there's this lasting sense of achievement that's different than something fleeting.
Yeah.
It's
And
very important.
it's a great boost to self-esteem,
Yeah,
Once I feel like I'm doing something that matters, then I feel important to the
yeah.
organization. That boosts my self-esteem tremendously.
It's a big, big deal. It is. On big projects, sometimes just really strong progress. on any given week uh, is important and should be recognized, because that's a piece of achievement. You don't have to wait till the end. It's the things you're doing along the way that matter, that contribute to the success of the organization and feed the ultimate success. But there are many forms of achievement along the way, many.
Yes.
And so, if you want to build an achievement driven culture, you've got to be on the lookout for people who are providing influence in the organization. There's lots of key influencers. People who've earned the respect of others. What have they done to get that? Have you pointed that out to others? The spontaneous recognition, planned recognition, certainly when something is big and warrants it. And it's not at all faked.
Right.
These things go a long way towards having people really value the mission of the organization, their coworkers, and what they're doing together as a team. I think that's just so important.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, these are all big things. And next week we're going to be moving on to resilience, which is the ability to bounce back. And so we're going to be talking about building a resilient culture, because although everything is great, there are things that come along that you have to navigate through. And being a resilient culture allows you to do that. And so we're going to continue on with the series about how to build a high performing culture that overcomes and is highly productive. And we say this in every episode, but 4,700 CEOs believe 40% of the work in the organization produces no value. And consequently, sorry, wrong one. 45% of the CEOs believe their company won't be viable in 10 years because they're not able to move fast enough, get things done, innovate. And that comes down to having a culture that outperforms. Cultures that outperform are highly productive. The CEO takes ownership of the culture and leads, sets a tone at the top, and helps make sure the leaders in the organization are learning these human factors of leadership to create an organization that truly outperforms, where you aren't, worried that 40% of the value isn't being created. Your payroll's going to waste. You've got to have a productive organization. There's no other way to survive in a world that's undergoing so much change and transformation so quickly. So you got to move fast. You got to be productive. You got to master these human factors. This is what's going to take your organization into the future. The most important tool in every company is the people. It's not the technology. It's not AI. It's the people. The people count more than ever. That's what this all boils down to.
Yes.
So hope you can join us. We're here every Wednesday, 3:00. It's a great series. Feel free to join in. I think you're going to really enjoy it. Resilience matters more than ever, and we'll be talking about that next week. So take care.
Yes.